I just got triggered.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? I am doing just fine. Thank you so much for joining the stream. It's an honor for you to be here because I am literally nobody. How is it going, everyone? How is it going? Yes, thank you. I actually did not notice until you said something, some random white guy. Yeah, so far, yesterday, I was very surprised and unsurprised in certain ways. It was um, it was a very successful stream. It's something that I had envisioned in my mind for almost a year, and I literally, with the power of AI, was able to build a tool where every single time that a donation happened, it would rewind the ending credits of Assassin's Creed Shadows a certain amount of time, depending on the donation. And obviously, some things I didn't anticipate did not go perfectly. For some reason, just because I was curious, I tested out gifting someone a membership on YouTube, and I tried gifting someone a membership on Twitch. It just decided not to work in my most recent build, so I need to definitely fix that. I was like, hey, I thought I fixed this AI, and then they're like, after the stream, and they're like, oh yeah, you know that thing that you told us to do that we said that we were gonna do? Looks like we didn't do it. Yes. Hello, everyone. Hello from some random white guy. Like, what? Who cares? He's just there. Like, what? He's right there. Just doing stuff. Who knows what he's doing? Anyway, actually, let's unmute this to get a little sultry here. So I had a few hiccups. There was one thing I wanted to fix before the stream. I didn't want to change the profiles, like the how many seconds or minutes profiles on the dashboard. So I showed it a few times. Like I would bring down this little thing, and it would say kind of like all the stats, and it would have the buttons at top. So what it would do is I would click the button, and this is about a half hour before the stream, before I found this out. I would click the button. I'll just show it to you. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. So here's what this does. So I have pop-out stats, right here. It still has yesterday's reset all. There we go. I know we're not going to use this today. I'm just showing you what it does. So here it says 1 minute, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15. And you see that it changes, right? But here's the problem. It was only physically changing. It wasn't actually activating the new thing. So I was like, shit. Like a half hour before the stream. Because, it's not like I could, fix it in AI. I mean, I probably could have, but I still need to do a lot of setup before the stream. So I would have had to go to the AI. I'm like, hey, I want you to fix this. This is how I want you to fix it. Yada, yada, yada. It would be like, okay. And then I would have had to do it, test it, and come back in a matter of maybe I had 7 minutes of time, but I needed every second I could spare before the stream. The other issue I ran into is that Jay Viper, I mean, it's good why we do these live streams and tests. Thankfully, like all regular donations like came through on Rumble and YouTube. I can't send myself my own kicks on Kick, so that's a little difficult. But I did test the gift membership on Kick, and that worked. But for some reason, YouTube's and Twitch's decided not to work, but would only work in Streamlab in the Streamlab test. So I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. So yeah, you're supposed to rewind all or reset all. Yeah, that's another thing I need to fix at some point, but it's not the biggest deal. Like this is stuck here and it looks like this. It won't look like a regular video until you actually select a video. So that's really fucking annoying. But let's see here. And I wasn't able to test like some of the other features, but that's for another time, another place. But yeah, the thing that I thought of though is so what I'm gonna be doing, I think moving forward, especially because now I am one of the unemployed, I am gonna be doing streams from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we're going to be doing 8-hour streams, Monday through Friday, or maybe Sunday through Friday. We'll see. So Sunday through Friday, we'll do 12 a.m. to 8 p.m. And those last 2 hours, we will be doing a gaming stream. That's what the idea is. On Saturday though, so we'll call it Suffer Saturdays. Those shows won't start till 2 p.m. Just because I don't need to do, because I'm gonna have to wake up in the morning. Because the idea is I'm going to be doing as much as I can, either daily videos or every other day videos. So I'm gonna be waking up at 6 a.m. I'm going to do 2 hours of research and writing. And then at 8 a.m., I'm going to do, hopefully I'm going to be able to record and edit a video and release it before 12 p.m. My time. So I'm going to be trying to do daily videos. And if I have any extra time, I'm going to work on kind of like my really, really big videos. So that's kind of what Saturday is for. That Saturday is for me, for when I work on my, like, the videos that I'm really, really trying to like get done, like the one that are incredibly researched and getting those across the finish line at some point. I might make Sunday, I think, like my major release day Sunday, like, so if I don't finish like a really big video, like the one that's like, gotcha, all that jazz, like the ones I really dream up in my head, then what I'm going to do, yeah, I think I might do that. Just every Sunday will be kind of the big release of like the major videos. So if there isn't a release on a Sunday of a morning video, that just means that, the really big videos aren't ready and they're still, cooking. You know what I mean? Hold on a second. I'm gonna check my stats real quick. So what do you guys think about that? Do you guys like the idea of like a Suffer Saturdays where we just do kind of the donation rewind? Hold on, I'm just checking that everything's working right now. God damn it, Twitch. Every single freaking time. I don't know why I stream on here. I don't know why I stream on Twitch. I don't know. I just like giving people what's the other thing that didn't work? Follows on Rumble I think worked, and follows on Kick worked, but it wasn't working for Twitch or yeah, it wasn't working for Twitch, and it wasn't working for X. So I'm probably gonna need to look into that. One issue is that because I'm doing everything through Streamlabs, I've learned that their documentation is incredibly old, like their API documentation. So there's a lot of things that I have to make up for their lack of documentation. So when I tell to do something, I have to tell it to do it in a specific way. Like it, for example, it still has Mixer in its API documentation. It still has Mixer. Mixer's been dead and gone for almost a decade, and it's still trying to survive through in the documentation. So it's a little too late for me to actually. That reminds me, I need to do something. Just yeah, let me disconnect. So yeah, there we go. Oh, what was I saying? Yeah, it's a little too late for me to kind of abandon the Streamlabs thing, but I will be looking to the alternative, which is Stream Elements, to see if their API documentation is up to date. Because Streamlabs is still talking about Mixer. They don't have their Kick stuff, API documentation whatsoever. So it's been a real pain in the ass, even with AI. But anyway, let's take a look here today. So, a few reasons why the stream was a little late. One reason is because there was some breaking news. The other is that I forgot to update my titles in the Kick, Twitch, and I needed to set up my my multi-chat. So that's the reason why I was late. And right now, we are just going to simply jump into it. So let's see here, because I can't see shit. Oh, there we go. Let me close out of this. Boom.
Just over a year since the Chips and Science Act.
No, we're not going there yet. So, I didn't know this was going on all day. Like, it just randomly hit my Twitter feed. And apparently, Bill Clinton was testifying in front of Congress today, privately. And we have a few updates. So, when did this start? Oh, yeah, it started right here is where I saw this. Just in, former Bill Clinton testifies under oath that President Trump was not involved with Jeffrey Epstein. All right. So let's take a look here. And it looks like that news has just been kind of going on and on and on and on and on today. So I had no time to prepare. So we are just going to go through it as it goes. So Bill Clinton, and we're just going to go for it. Okay. World exclusive bombshell. James, okay. James, I love your stuff, but it's a boxes of pizza. Oh my God. Boxes of pizza are being delivered to the site where Bill Clinton is testifying about his connection with Jeffrey Epstein. You can't make this shit up. That is, I don't know if that was on purpose. I don't know. But if it was, great. Just, I can literally taste the memes from here. Let's see. Come on, give me something else. White. Oh, okay. Just now, 6 hours ago, there's a White House 17 times on top of Bill Clinton. Okay, so just now, Eric Doherty says, Representative James Comer confirms that Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House 17 times on top of Bill Clinton flying on the Lolita Express 27 times, claiming, I didn't know him, will not fly. The Clinton files are heating up. So let's just see what's going on here.
Mr. Chairman, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Explain to us specifically what you need to hear from President Clinton today. What do you want to know?
Well, I think everyone's seen there are a lot of photos that have been released by the Department of Justice as well as the Epstein estate. There are a lot of email correspondence that included President Clinton. We know President Clinton had, and Secretary Clinton confirmed this yesterday, Jeffrey Epstein was in the White House 17 times while Bill Clinton was president. We know that Bill Clinton flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane at least 27 times.
The walls are closing in, everybody. The walls are fucking closing in.
So those are questions that we're going to ask. Everything that most media outlets have reported with respect to pictures and correspondence between Epstein, Maxwell, and Bill Clinton, these are all questions that we're going to ask today.
Yesterday, both told me that you were planning on asking about an email that Howard Lutnick sent to Jeffrey Epstein, I presume about a Hillary Clinton fundraiser. I think that was the one. He's worth asking about. Is he not worth asking him to talk about what he might know?
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting when we hopefully get that video out later today or tomorrow as quick as we can get it out. I think it'll be interesting what Hillary Clinton said about Howard Lutnick.
And how she said it.
And how she said it. We looked, I think that was Ms. Mace with the line of questioning. So there was a pretty thorough line of questioning yesterday between Ms. Mace and Ms. Clinton.
So wait a minute. Did they just say that things were going to be released today? So hold on. Or today or tomorrow? I'm a little because it was private in the House for the House committee for Hillary Clinton. So are we going to be hearing more things? Man, I wish I was playing Resident Evil right now. Because actually I might do that later today. I have never beaten RE2, the remake. So I might do that later once we're kind of going through the stream.
Respect to Lutnick, and I think you all find it very interesting what she had to say. But we're going to continue to ask questions of everyone that shows up in photos on the island and things like that. Yes.
I will be asking for him, yes. You will.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Obviously, we heard from Secretary Clinton after her deposition. She described the session as repetitive. She said it veered off topic. She was asked about things like UFOs, Pizzagate. Can you explain why those topics were brought up, and also in light of the release of that photo?
And she also said there were substantive questions yesterday, too. But one reason there were...
Well, wasn't she, like, the Secretary of State during the Obama administration? So it wouldn't surprise me if she was privy to know if, like, aliens existed or not, because you'd have to be going through other governments that might know as well. So, Pizzagate, if there was time to ask those questions, I don't know too much about Pizzagate, but I do understand that very familiar documents have come out of the Epstein files in regards to it. So, and especially when a lot of communication between, in regards to Epstein files, it's like, you don't, there was a conspiracy theory about trafficking children, and then there's also Epstein. This Pizzagate thing's a little weird. I understand asking about it, just in case. How many new fires do we have today? Plenty. We're just going to be going... I just figured out about the Bill Clinton thing going on, so we're just covering that real quick, and then we're going to be going through a few of the topics that I was looking into today.
Repetitive questions about Epstein is because we went through every email and every correspondence that implied Hillary Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein communicated often. You all have seen the email where he said that she looks better in person and all of that. Those were questions we asked. So every item of evidence that would suggest Hillary Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein had a close relationship, we went and asked about that. So it may have seemed repetitive because there was a lot of documentation that would suggest that she had a relationship with Epstein.
And
so go ahead.
Secretary Clinton actually asked about the NDAA. Sorry.
Go ahead.
To be clear, Secretary Clinton actually asked us about what happened with the disclosure language in the NDAA. So, I mean, I know she's trying to pivot from the fact that she's here and she had a very close relationship regarding the Clinton Foundation and Epstein and Maxwell. But the point is, and I think I'd like to hit on this with probably Ms. Mace here, but I think we have a very important interest and curiosity about what specifically the co-conspirators had a role in all this, right? We know for a fact that some of these were women. And I think that today, at least with my line of questioning, I'm curious about that. Why is it that these women were given plea deals as adults for trafficking minors? How much of that did they witness, et cetera? And so, I don't know that Secretary Clinton was...
And the thing is, like with NDAs, that doesn't mean that it protects crimes. So, especially if you were... Because she's a trained lawyer. So if you signed these documents, or Bill Clinton did, in regards to the NDAs, and you knew there was shady shit going down that potentially breaks the law, then that means you knew it was a crime. I mean, I don't know how many threads actually connect to her in that sense, or in the case of Bill Clinton, in regards to the NDAs, but it is incredibly suspicious. And if it did happen, if these NDAs are signed by her and by Bill Clinton, then it raises a lot of suspicions on the activities that they could potentially know about his little organization of misfit toys.
All that honest about the context of this investigation. We asked extensively about intelligence ties, whether or not she felt that she was targeted as a result of possibly an intelligence gathering operation. And she was very curiously interested in that. And then also, you'll hear it in the response, but had told us to follow up with a few countries, one of which is our ally. So that's interesting.
And I think Ms. Luna brought up a good point about the Clinton Foundation. There's so many examples in the evidence the Department of Justice released in correspondence where Epstein bragged about how involved he was initially in setting up the Clinton Global Initiative and the Clinton Foundation. We asked those questions to Secretary Clinton yesterday, and she kept saying, well, she was in the Senate at that time. She wasn't focused on it. You'll have to ask my husband. So a lot of the Clinton Global Initiative questions yesterday went unanswered because Ms. Clinton deferred to her husband. So we'll do one more question. Annie, go ahead.
It's our understanding that you guys asked Secretary Clinton yesterday about photos of her husband in the Epstein files. What was her reaction when you showed various photos, for example, of her husband in the jacuzzi that we've seen?
I'm going to let Miss Mace answer that. We're on TV.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything. No, she didn't want to answer any questions about any of that and deferred most of those, if not all of those questions, to her husband, and he will be thoroughly asked about that today.
Well, I do hope that during the closed session we will find out information about that later. Right?
You know, what did he know? What did he see? Because there are other people who've come forward publicly, like Kevin Spacey, who thought all of this was very strange and actually a very high risk for a president of the United States or former president. It's all very bizarre, but I asked her very pointed questions, and you'll see that in the transcript in the video that comes out, and you'll see how she responded as well, screaming.
And we'll close with this. We're going to get the video out as quickly as we can get it uploaded and the sound and everything from yesterday. So this is, for all practical purposes, a public deposition. The American people are going to see it. I've heard C-SPAN's going to air it wire to wire. So everyone's going to see what was asked yesterday. And I think that'll answer a lot of questions, especially with
very pointed questions. And you'll see that in the transcript in the video that comes out, and you'll see how she responded as well, screaming.
And we'll close with this. We're going to get the video out as quickly as we can get it uploaded and the sound and everything from yesterday. So this is, for all practical purposes, a public deposition.
If you guys were going to release a video anyways, like, look, if you say that there's an edited video and that there's some classified stuff behind there, sure, I will accept that. But if you release the entire thing and there's no edits, then why was there a closed session in the first place?
The American people are going to see it. I've heard C-SPAN's going to air it wire to wire. So everyone's going to see what was asked yesterday. And I think that'll answer a lot of questions, especially with Lutnick and other things like that. Throughout the day, we'll try to send different members out to give you brief updates. We don't want to disclose what's going on in the deposition specifically until at the conclusion, but we'll keep you updated, and we appreciate everyone being here and look forward to updating you throughout the day.
Ms. Mace, what do you mean that Hillary Clinton was screaming?
She was unhinged, and I hope that President Clinton is less unhinged today than his wife was yesterday. You'll see it.
Why do you think she had a relationship with Mr. Epstein?
Say again?
Why do you think she had a relationship with Mr. Epstein?
Well, he was basically instrumental, for his words, and I think you'll find out from Clinton probably today in setting up the Clinton Global Initiative.
President Trump said that he was bothered by Bill Clinton coming in.
The biggest thing is we need transparency, accountability, and we need justice for the victims, and we need to make sure we find out how can we write laws to prevent human trafficking and prevent people of that evil level infiltrating the...
Okay, so here's a few of the things that have kind of leaked out already in regards to, let's see here. Let's see. All right, so we got a little bit of thing. Bill Clinton's whoa. Okay. Again, like, we're learning about this live. So let's see what's going on here.
Oversight Committee, he had no idea about Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. Clinton
Bullshit.
added, quote, as someone who grew up in a home with domestic abuse, not only would I not have flown on his plane if I had any inkling of what he was doing, I would have turned him in myself and led the call for justice for his crimes, not sweetheart deals. Let's check in with Fox News contributor and former House Oversight
so much
Chair,
bullshit.
Jason He's live out of Chappaqua for us at this hour. So, Jason, your takeaway from former President Bill Clinton.
Well, I guess it begs the question, when did he contact authorities? When did he figure out something was awry? Because certainly the pictures and the videos and everything else, did he ever contact law enforcement? Contrast that with President Trump, who back in 20 years ago, 2006, contacted local law enforcement and said, hey, you got to look into this Ghislaine Maxwell. You got to look into Jeffrey Epstein. There's something really wrong going on here.
That's actually a fair point. It's a fair point. Wait, hold on. Trump hung out with him just a little bit. And he was like, hey, and this is back in 2006, 2004. He's just like, hey, there's something shady about this guy. Like, he does this, this, and this. I think he might be up to some, like, no good stuff. And then almost, 30 years later, Bill Clinton just was aloof on that, especially with all the photos that have come out with him potentially being on the island, going on his plane like 27 times, being invited to the White House 17 times, a former school teacher that ended up being like the biggest blackmailer in the world, and Bill Clinton wants us to expect BS I have ever heard.
I'm not aware of Bill Clinton, President Clinton, ever contacting law enforcement and saying something was awry.
Well, this, Jason, from his opening statement, it reads, quote, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing. No matter how many photos you show me, I have two things that at the end of the day matter more than your interpretation of those 20-year-old photos. I know what I saw, and more importantly, what I didn't see. I know what I did, and more importantly, what I didn't do. I saw nothing, and I did nothing wrong. But to your point...
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Right. Some random white guy, if Val Kilmer was still alive, he could fill us in on what happened after he turned down going to the island. He was blacklisted in Hollywood. Wait, hold on. Okay, hold on. He could fill us in on what happened after he turned down. Yeah, but the thing is that also at the same time, I mean, he was blacklisted from Hollywood, but the thing is at the same time, you know, if you blacklist somebody, then that essentially means that they also did something too. So maybe Val Kilmer is, you know, guilty of shit as well in regards to any of those. I'm just saying, logically, why wouldn't Val Kilmer say something after being blacklisted? I mean, this could be a little bit in response to, like, I think Mel Gibson, you know, he went on his little tirade and got canceled and all that shit. But at the end of the day, he's now coming out and saying, look, I did a thing. I'm hugging the cactus. You know, here's what's really wrong with Hollywood right now and why I kind of said what I said. Did I get a little overboard with it? Yes. But the substance of it is true. So and maybe Val Kilmer, you know, just saw Mel Gibson and was like, not even going to touch it, not even going to risk it, my career, just in case I can make a comeback. So, I mean, there's a lot of different aspects that you can look about it, but remember, at the end of the day, human nature is human nature, and even good people will stay silent with the right incentives. One thing that you learn in acting class is that, especially when you're taught, you know, the suspension of disbelief, is that you have to understand, in the right circumstances, with the right person, anyone is capable of anything. And I love one teacher who actually gave this analogy. He said, if you ever watched the movie The Game with Michael Douglas, then you would understand where that statement comes from. So, by the way, great movie. If you ever end up watching The Game, watch it.
He's referencing that he didn't do anything wrong when it came to the involvement with Epstein and what was happening there. But if he had seen something, he certainly could have done something about it, Jason.
Yeah, he could have. Now, I know that after the first hour of peppering of questions by both sides, he has not yet been confronted. In fact, I've been told at least this hour he's actually going to be shown some photos. that include President Clinton in those photos and be asked specifically, probably Congresswoman Mace, Congresswoman Luna, as well, of course, as Chairman Comer. But
exactly.
He is not yet...
Small lies, big lies. He's all lies. Like, look, it's just like I said, in the right circumstance, the right person, anyone is capable of anything. He is very guilty of lying in the past, especially if you look at the Monica, Lewinsky situation. What else has he lied about? Because that's a really big lie. But the thing is, there is an understanding, and I'm not defending him. I'm just explaining the actions. If you're caught with something and you understand what those consequences are, then you will do anything to avoid those consequences. Like, I got fired recently. You want to know why? It's because I was late too many times. Guess what? Consequences. And I'm going to be honest with my audience about it. I held off for a little while because I didn't want, oh, poor nobody or something like that. But the thing is, no, at the end of the day, between having a hard time sleeping and, sometimes working on my Chrome extension a little too much into the night, that's going to happen. Those were decisions. Majority of those were because of decisions I made, right? I made a choice and I knew what the consequences were if I stayed up too late. I mean, sometimes I literally just couldn't sleep, but that's beside the point. I do understand that, if you're up at 1 a.m. in the morning, maybe 2 a.m., maybe 3 a.m., majority of the time it was like 2 to 3 a.m., you might not wake up for your alarm clock. And I know that's a very minor reason or comparison, but when the stakes are high enough, especially when you're the president of the United States and you fuck up and you fuck up hard, and you don't want to be the guy that gets impeached and kicked out of the office for the first time. I mean, if you look at President Tricky Dick, he was impeached, but he was never kicked out of office. He resigned. Bill Clinton could have potentially been the first. So they lie to avoid consequences. And this is jail time. This isn't fucking around. In this case, in regards to Jeffrey Epstein, this is jail time. This is minor trafficking. This is relations with a minor. I expect him to lie. What I'm hoping is that there's enough evidence that when a lie is said, that he's called out on it and that he will be accountable at some point. That's what I hope for.
I've been shown those photos. It'll be fascinating to know how he answers that, how he explains that away, because, it's from the surface. As somebody who's been married for 35 years, that doesn't look so good.
Got it. James Comer stepped out just a short time ago. There was a press conference with the Republicans and the Democrats. And the Chairman Comer said this about Bill Clinton's testimony. Listen.
Ranking Member Garcia asked President Clinton, quote, should President Trump be called to answer questions from this committee? And President Clinton said, that's for you to decide. And the president went on to say,
wait, what?
President Clinton, quote, should President Trump be called to answer questions from this committee? And President Clinton said, that's for you to decide. And the president went on to say that the president, Trump, has never said anything to me to make me think he was involved.
So essentially right now we got testimony saying, look, I don't know if President Trump was involved with Jeffrey Epstein to the same point that I was, but what he is saying is President Trump and I have never talked about it, which, if true, is an indication that, especially with the network that they were in, I mean, it's high-class society, it's the social elites, it's the billionaire elites, it's, people with their hands and everything. You would think that they knew what was going on with Epstein and would talk about it if they were, implicated in the same situation.
Your thoughts on that, Jason?
Look, there are people within the Epstein orbit that should be called, but there needs to be a predicate before you call these people. We want justice for these victims, and there are a lot of victims. And how was this predator, this monster, able to wield influence and money and get everybody to turn their head so that they didn't actually do something? The only person that I know of who actually contacted law enforcement and said, hey, there's something wrong here, was Donald Trump, and that happened 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so if somebody else was doing that, I mean, there was a case to be made against Epstein, and there's, I think, a bigger, broader question. Why wasn't more done about this? I didn't see anything happen to this during the Obama years. I didn't during the Biden years. It was only during the Bush administration and the Trump administration that they actually put this guy in jail.
Last thing here. This is Jonathan Turley on the accusation that Epstein was helping the Clinton family. Listen.
What is sort of the modus operandi of the Clintons is to go into these depositions and to evade direct answers. But they're going to get specific questions about these emails in which Epstein is indicating that he was not only just a great contributor, but helped establish this initiative and help the Clintons in their efforts. And that was reinforced with the appearance of figures like Maxwell at the wedding of their daughter.
Oh, there was that. Final thought on that, Jason.
Yeah, and it also begs a lot of questions about what the Clinton Foundation was doing, how much money was flowing into the foundation, the Clinton Initiative, because the proximity to the flow of money and Jeffrey Epstein getting in trouble and having trouble just begs the question, what was he doing? I'm not saying that the Clintons necessarily did anything wrong, but if you're going...
How much of that money went to him? That's what they want to know. And for what reason? So let's just say we, go the vanilla route with that. So maybe Jeffrey Epstein potentially, mind you. Like, this is in La La Land here. Let's say potentially. Jeffrey Epstein, buddy with Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton gets out of office, and Jeffrey Epstein's like, hey, I got an initiative of my own. I want to help poor people in Uzbekistan or whatever. And you have the Clinton Foundation, and they go, hey, Jeffrey, we've known you for a while, and we think that you're a swell person. Here is $3 million towards that thing in Uzbekistan or Wakanda or whatever, wherever it is. And then let's just say he misappropriated that money and spent it to blackmail other individuals or continue his trafficking ring, to continue blackmailing people to get more information, to sell information. Maybe he was working for the CIA. And if the Clintons on paper would say, this is for, his little thing in Uzbekistan, we had no idea what was going on. We sent him money for such and such. So as you can see, on paper, it can say something, but I think those other photos can say something else. That is all I'm saying. It's a great way to cover your tracks. That's all I'm saying.
To actually solve this problem and make sure that you can't just wield this influence to be a pedophile and be a sexual predator, then you got to understand
I just got demonetized.
This guy was manipulating people across the world and taking down some very strong and important leaders. What was the impetus behind that? Who was this guy? Yeah. And how did he wield that influence? Because it certainly looks like the Clintons were in that stratosphere with him.
That is a huge question at this hour. Jason Chaffetz live there in Chapel for us. Jason, thank you.
Okay, well, that's something. All right, let's take a look here. Live update. Bill Clinton asked about hot tub photos. Ooh, there we go. Okay. What the? What?
Hello, everybody. I'm Martha McCallum, along with Paul Morrow.
Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Live reporting. Why did Clinton agree to testify today? Because he was caught red-handed. Clinton points out to where the investigation should go next, May says. Trump has repeatedly said that he's been exonerated in the Epstein files. Republican Comer has asked by a reporter if that's true. The chairman says yes. Based on the evidence he sees, Trump has been exonerated. Nancy Pace, also a Republican, as the victims have exonerated Trump. I mean, this was a while ago. So she has that both former Clinton and former Secretary Clinton offered the committee advice on where the investigation should go next. Why would you offer advice if you didn't know anything? That's a little suspicious, don't you think? Jesus. Lawmakers have questions of those who associate with Epstein. Is there actually anything in fucking these? Or are we just going to be finding out like later tomorrow? Let's hope video will be released in the next 24 hours. Republicans want to talk to more people. Clinton gave thorough answers, Mate says. So that means it sounds like Bill did a better job than Hillary did. Very productive deposition. Oh, God, I mean, talk about live reporting, but like, what's the fucking headline here? Trump and Epstein. So we kind of already heard about that. What happened so far in the deposition? Source tells BBC that Clinton was asked about photograph from Epstein files showing him in a hot tub with a person whose face is redacted. Clinton said he did not know who the woman was and did not have relations with her, the source says. The former president said he saw nothing. I did nothing wrong. I do not believe you. Let's see. Republicans and Democrats both shared that Clinton has been asked about President Donald Trump's relation to Jeffrey Epstein, but the two parties shared different interpretations of his answers. House Democrats say Clinton shared details of a conversation he had with Trump that raises more questions for the current president, who they say should testify. Republicans say that they have plans release the footage from deposition of Hillary Clinton, who testified for 6 hours yesterday. Bill Clinton unedited? So are both of these going to be unedited? You know what? Let's just do. Let me show you kind of what's going on here. Let's see, Bill. Let's see if Hillary Clinton's comes out, or they really. One day ago, 7 hours ago. Yeah, they haven't released shit. Wait, I hear it was C-SPAN that was supposed to be releasing it. Oh, can I guys show you something? I need to show you something. This was a live feed for over 4 hours. It looks like that it may have ended already. But it had 6 hours. It had 14,000 people watching this.
Democrats, who are the minority, had an hour. We will break for 10 minutes, then the majority will go back for our second hour.
Oh, wait.
Which will be the third total hour. That
I completely missed this.
Might be the halfway point. After that, that's yet to be determined. But just wanted to mention something, because I know there's a lot of obsession about President Trump from the media. A lot of curiosity about President Trump from the media. I want to make a statement, because they'll probably not mention this when they come out here. Ranking Member Garcia asked President Clinton, quote, should President Trump be called to answer questions for this committee? And President Clinton said, that's
we already saw a little bit of this.
And the president went on to say that the president, Trump, has never said anything to me to make me think he was involved. And he met with Epstein. So I know there's a lot of curiosity about President Trump. I thought that was an interesting thing that President Clinton said. So I'll let the Democrats have the podium and they can answer your questions. But we'll come back at the conclusion. The majority will, and we'll answer all your questions.
Okay. Okay, and here's the Democrats. There's Ro Khanna.
President Clinton, in his opening, made the most important statement no one is above the law. And he made it clear that it was perfectly appropriate for the committee to call him and ask him tough questions about what happened.
Even though they tried to back out of it, and until Congress offered to be like, well, we're going to hold you in contempt, so you better frickin' come in. Sounds like they changed their minds. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Rokana.
He also made it clear that it was totally inappropriate for this committee to call Secretary Clinton. That's why personally I didn't even show up yesterday. I thought it was outrageous the way they treated Secretary Clinton. She has nothing to do with that. But President Clinton...
Okay, what? So you thought it was completely inappropriate how they treated her, yet you didn't go to see it. How do you know she was mistreated? She was definitely mistreated. Were you there? No! Come on.
Answered the questions. I think you'll see when we have the deposition that our side that put the survivors first. We had our members, our lawyers ask questions to get the basic facts and asked difficult questions, and the president answered. And it was civil, and he set the tone, in my view, for the precedent that President Trump needs to now come and answer these questions, that Howard Lutnick needs to answer these questions, that other people part of the Epstein class who've been in these files need to come before this committee and ask these questions. And then that's the only way we're going to have accountability and healing. Now we'll turn it over to our ranking member,
Now, should Trump go in front of them and talk about Epstein? I personally see no problem with it. I don't. Even just get basic shit out of the way. Like, hey, what was your relationship at the very beginning? Like, what's the story behind it? Because it's been like this kind of highlights here and there. It's like, hey, here's a few photos of them. Yes, he went to Mar-a-Lago a few times. Okay, we know about the call to the FBI about, his shadiness and kind of how were you involved with that? I see no issue with that. I think that Trump, and I'm neither agreeing or disagreeing with this decision, but I don't think Trump is going to do it. Even though I would find it beneficial, I don't think Trump is going to do it. I think that's the way it is. I'm not quite sure if Congress can call him in for that, but if you guys know, then, let me know.
At the end of these other members, first we have is Congressman Randall.
Thank you. As you heard, President Clinton in his opening statement said that America was built on the idea that no person is above the law, even presidents, especially presidents. And the Democratic members of the Oversight Committee feel the same.
Who sucked your dick, Bill? Cheating is not a crime, but for ethics reasons, you definitely broke a lot of ethics. Monica Lewinsky.
No one is above the law, and anyone with knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes should absolutely come before the committee to give testimony about what they saw or did. Who was there? Who was involved? Survivors like Charlene Richard, who was my State of the Union guest, deserve the accountability and the truth. The American people deserve accountability and truth. That means a complete release of the files and cooperation, not obstruction, from Pam Bondi, and it means testimony on the record from anyone with information, whether that's Howard Lutnick, Bill Gates, Larry Summers, and
man, even though that they've been a lot better at releasing these files now, God, it was still a shit show when they God, the binders that they gave right wing alternative news influencers, like the binders of shit that everyone already knew, things that have already been released and they basically are now starting to recover from that. And I need more details of okay, you've released what, 4 million documents now, roughly, maybe even more. And we still have more to go through. Give us a fucking plan here. Hey, we're gonna dude, a Netflix subscription, not Netflix, no. A TV release schedule. Be hey, these are a lot of documents. Here's what we're gonna try to do. We're going to go through as many at a time, and every month on this day, we will release what we have and what we've gone over. So then we can start the next set of documents. I think a month would be a little too long. I'd be like, no, every week, bitch. But God, they need to recover from this. Like, either put up or shut up, or just get everything out there. I do understand that redactions of victims have to happen, though there've been some fuck-ups there as well in the Epstein files. I do understand that mistakes will happen, but the thing is, in regards to how big this case is and all the players that are in it, FBI, Department of Justice, get your shit together. Get it together. Fine-tooth comb that shit.
Yes, even and especially Donald Trump.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I am Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury, and I am deeply proud to represent New Mexico's 1st Congressional District, where our state has taken action where the federal government has failed. We have reopened an investigation through our state attorney general into the crimes committed by Jeffrey Epstein and his associates in New Mexico, as well as passed the first state-level truth commission in this case ever passed in the history of the United States.
Okay. I don't know what the state is going to do, but okay. Sounds a little bit more PR than anything, but, hopefully something comes out of it. I don't know what you're going to get that the federal government won't, but, here's your participation trophy.
We will be working very closely to make sure that the state is able to make a full accounting of the crimes in New Mexico. With regards to today's deposition, I want to be clear at the outset that President Clinton, as of today, has not been accused of a crime. There are not public files available that accuse him of a crime, whereas there are publicly available documents that do allege a crime of President Trump.
Really? Really? Okay. It's like they have to spin it one way or another. They just do. They just do.
But it is very well established that President Clinton had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and we are treating this investigation extraordinarily seriously. And when you see the recorded deposition, you will see that we asked all of the hard questions, centering the survivors, making sure that we get to the bottom of where there are discrepancies in the record, and understanding how not only the crimes that Jeffrey Epstein committed could go on, but why there was a culture that surrounded him wherein the rich and powerful turned a blind eye. And with that, I turn it back to our ranking member.
All right, Congressman Maxwell for us. First off, I just thank you to President Clinton for coming here today to speak with us. Answering these questions has been helpful for us as we will continue this investigation. Donald Trump, as we know, needs to come before this committee. He's been caught in multiple lies as it relates to his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. I can tell you I've seen unredacted files myself that directly refer.
Clinton had a relationship earlier. Could go.
For coming here to Maxwell for us. First off, I just thank you to President Clinton for coming here today to speak with us. Answering these questions has been helpful for us as we will continue this investigation. Donald Trump, as we know, needs to come before this committee. He's been caught in multiple lies as it relates to his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. I can tell you I've seen unredacted files myself that directly refute his assertion that he kicked out Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago, the reasoning why he did that. Also, walking out of this, I can tell you we all now have a lot of new questions that we have to raise as it relates to the reasoning on why Donald Trump had a falling out with Jeffrey Epstein in the first place. Another thing is that I saw about an hour ago, Donald Trump in a press conference said that Howard Lutnick is, quote, a very innocent guy. Donald Trump has asserted many times that he knew nothing of Epstein's crimes. If he doesn't know anything about Epstein's crimes, how can he know for sure that Howard Lutnick is, quote, a very innocent guy? We have questions for him.
Hold on. Sorry, guys. I have no idea who Howard Lutnick is. Oh, him. Emergence of Epstein Island photo leads to new calls for Lutnick to testify. Members of Congress are raising questions after a photograph they say shows Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick aside Jeffrey Epstein on the late SO private island was briefly removed from the Justice Department's website. Like, dude, guys, I know this is CNN, but oh God, he was on the island, bro. Look, I'm a little late to the game, guys, on this one, so give me a little bit of grace. Let's see. At one point, the original page contained the photograph on justice.gov returned an error message, though a version captured by the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine on January 31st, 2026 remained accessible online, which included the photograph. The page has since been restored after they got caught. Bro. No files are being deleted. Yeah, sure. Yeah, look, if that's a photo of him on Epstein's island, at the very least, that guy definitely needs to testify. Explain yourself. We want to know. Was he the one who brought his son there? Let's find out. Howard Lutnick's son? Nothing's coming up here. As far as I can tell. Let's see.
And I think what today is showing and what yesterday is showing is, of course, no one's above the law. That includes the President of the United States. And my hope is that our Republican colleagues, as we walk out of here today and go back to D.C., will join us in making sure that we can hear from Howard Lutnick, from Pam Bondi, and from President Trump.
Good afternoon, Congresswoman Yasmin Ansari, representing Arizona's 3rd District. I think today was a historic day for transparency in the United States of America. The fact that we have the former President of the United States, Bill Clinton, under oath, speaking to the Oversight Committee and answering questions in a transparent manner.
He had to be subpoenaed. It's not like he came willingly. Well, depending on the context.
It's critical. I look forward to the Republican majority listening to our demands of having the transcripts and videos unedited of both depositions, today's and yesterday's, released immediately because the American public.
That's what the Republicans said. So I think everybody's demanding it. It doesn't matter on what side you're on. Just release the videos so the public can see. What still confuses me is why wasn't it live if you're going to put it all out there anyways? That's the confusing part for me.
The public deserves to hear and see these answers for themselves. And ultimately, this demonstrates that nobody is above the law. And my top concern at this moment is the ongoing White House cover-up. It is deeply concerning that we are seeing a very coordinated machine from the President of the United States continuously repeating that he has been exonerated. He just repeated that today, to members of the Republican Party on the Oversight Committee repeating that lie as well. There are very credible allegations that have been looked into and investigated by the FBI, the Department of Justice, is illegally withholding. Please do not stop asking about this. Why is the DOJ continuing to defy the Epstein Files Transparency Act by refusing to release the full Epstein files, by illegally withholding information, by deleting photos and videos of people like Howard Lutnick? This is unacceptable. Donald Trump must be deposed immediately in front of this committee, as do many senior level officials in this administration.
I don't think that's going to happen. Whether it should happen or not, I think it should. It's like, hey, let's just get it out there, say your story. And like I said, I don't really care what side. If Donald Trump did something, Woody the wood chipper is always hungry. I don't think he did, but if he did, and if there's evidence that he did, I haven't really seen any. These guys are claiming that they've seen unredacted, files from the Epstein files. It's really weird. They keep saying, no, we want the full thing, but we also have evidence that implicates Trump. It's like, then fucking do something about it. You want to impeach him for a 3rd time? Like, I don't know. It's the speed at this of which makes me feel like that these people are full of shit. Moose Steaks. Could it not been live just in case names were mentioned and those names could hide away? I'm not sure. I mean, yes, that's a great guess, but the thing that makes me think no is due to the fact that they showed, apparently, because we read this in an article a few minutes ago, that they literally had the redacted photo of the woman that Bill Clinton was with. So I have a feeling that all the documents that they had already presented and were talking about were already redacted. So, I'm back and forth with it. I mean, at least for the Clinton side of things, if you don't get all the information all at once, like you have the press outside, you have the world watching, everything like that, and then you learn like, hey, don't release anything until the day after, until we both testify, or 2 days after, that means the world isn't reacting as hard. They are blocking it. What do you mean they're blocking it? Can you be a little bit more specific, Yessie? Yeah, there's a lot of underlying goes on, and there's possible reasons. Remember, you have a group of people in there that have completely different agendas. You hope that a lot of it is for the truth, a lot of it just mudslinging on both sides in regards to Republicans and Democrats. But the thing is, we won't know the truth until people just start speaking out, or at least just saying, hey, here's actually what happened. I can actually explain this, yada, yada, yada. Like, I really don't care. What I care about is just making a fucking arrest. Anybody. You feel like they're choosing what to show us in regards to the Epstein files, or the Democrats saying that they've read stuff, or you talk about the Clintons, or all of the above? Because I think it's all of the above. Because there's usually no such thing as a coincidence. I mean, if you're hiding Howard Ludwig's, or whatever his name is, involvement in the Epstein files, it gets deleted, then put back up. It's like, I mean, if there was an agenda going on, I feel like that they'd be a little bit more careful with that kind of thing. But I don't know. I just want people to start talking. Hey, Weeping Hero. Yeah, no, I agree. All of the above. It's also so confusing. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I am on the side that Trump didn't do anything wrong, but I am willing to be blown away. Maybe, you never know. Maybe Trump was, doing even more than what he said, that his involvement with Epstein. I don't know. Ooh, that's actually some random white guy. That's actually a very interesting thing. Just my thoughts. Maybe some of the victims are the social elite's children covering up their past lifestyle. Interesting. Yeah, because, damn, okay. Yeah, okay. I mean, that's another layer to it. Definitely a little bit more cake on this, more frosting on this cake to consider. But like I said, we don't know anything until Pam Bondi finally puts everything out, which she's taking her sweet, sweet time of doing. I mean, hell, don't they have like a whole like segment of the Justice Department just looking into this? Like, motherfucker. Just, or at least put it out as you're reviewing it, right? I don't know. It's all sorts of confusing.
Congressman Suhas Subramanian from Virginia. If there was any doubt before today that oversight Democrats are treating this investigation in a nonpartisan way, it'll be put to rest when the transcripts come out. We've been asking the former president the hard questions. To his credit,
Nope, no one's being partisan here. No. Democrats aren't being partisan. No, we're not. No. I swear, we're not being partisan. Dude, everyone is being partisan. Everyone is. Everyone knows this. Just be for America. We understand. We understand you want to protect your people just as much as the Republicans want to protect theirs, okay? This is completely partisan. Just hopefully the truth comes out. despite the partisanship that's going on. Oh, and some random white guy gives a little bit of a hint of what he's kind of thinking. Just imagine you found out your wife was a call girl and you run for a Fortune 500 business. You're ruined. Well, that already happened. Didn't that already happen to some guy? Like, I don't know if it was here in the United States, but there was some guy who was like a multi-millionaire and just like ran a business and everything, or was like a top exec, figures out that his wife has been hooking it on the side for like no reason. Hey, King Alucard, what are you doing? How you doing?
Answered every single question. He's not taking the Fifth Amendment. He's been actually quite comfortable, and he's actually given very long, deliberate answers to all these questions. And so we appreciate the former president being here today, and we would like to see the current president come before us as well and give the same kind of transparency that President Clinton has given us today. And we're going to continue to demand the release of the files, continue to demand transparency of this administration.
And I'll say it again, I'll say it before. I think Trump should go. I think that he needs to say his side of the story. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. I do not think he's going to do it. I just don't.
Two quick points. Wesley Bell, Congressman, Missouri's 1st District. First and foremost, President Clinton came here and answered tough questions. I think
Yeah, by the way, guys, King Alucard looks like he's taking a little break from his 24-hour stream playing Persona 5 Royale. He's really going for it, and I hope he sleeps well afterwards. And he knows just as well as I do. My stream yesterday could have gone off the rails and went 24 hours, if not longer. But yeah, I mean, we'll see where we're at. We'll see where Alucard's at. We might give him a raid afterwards. But I think we have a few more hours to spare before we make that decision yet. All right, let's continue forward.
Victims and survivors, the American public deserve a serious investigation, because thus far what we're seeing from Republicans is a very non-serious, as one of my colleagues referred to it as a clown show. And having led serious investigations, I can't disagree when we hear members from the other side coming into a deposition with conclusions, get no evidence to support those conclusions, and then announce to the world that these conclusions must be true. That is unprofessional, it's unethical, and at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is get to the bottom of what actually happened so that we can help hold any offenders accountable. Democrats are doing that. The president and former First Lady have done that, and now it's time for President Trump to do the exact same thing. Under oath, not when you can just make statements randomly on X or Truth Social, but under oath where your right hand is in the air and there are consequences if you don't tell the truth. And so we're going to continue to push for transparency. We're going to continue to push for justice, because that's what the American people and the survivors deserve.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Trump's going to come before Congress. Even a little bit. I really don't. Maybe after, he leaves his presidency, I think he would. I mean, like I said before, I would love President Trump to go in front of Congress and explain the entire story. I think it'd be really fascinating. And, hey, could it implicate some additional people that, Congress, the Justice Department and the American people kind of deserve to know at this point. I want POTUS to do that. Astrobot coming in says, absolutely, should the POTUS in any way go in front of these clowns? It would just be fuel the narrative that something actually happened. They can go get bent. And I hear you, dude. I hear you on that sense, especially when I am a Trump supporter, but I also am more a supporter of the truth. And what's really interesting is that this guy is like, the Republicans, they're jumping to conclusions and making, statements online. It's like, dude, if President Trump went in front of them, you guys would be doing the same exact fucking thing. It's like everyone, like I said before, everyone is partisan. Okay, everyone's partisan. Everyone is out to get everybody. I'm just hoping that the truth, even if a little bit more leaks out from this, that the truth will happen and we'll actually see more arrests. We'll actually see arrests here in the United States. Hell, the UK, out of all the countries, have actually arrested someone involved with Epstein. The UK, the same people that arrest for tweets on X. So I do understand where you're coming from, man, Astrobot. But I mean, I would say tit for tat. That's how politics works. Now, I have no idea if Trump can get out of a subpoena if Congress does call for it. I am not that politically minded in the sense of, in their systems and how that's done. But what I do know is that Trump's going to do his best not to do it, whether he's guilty or not. Whether he's guilty or not, Trump's not going to, he's going to avoid doing it. And just for the reason that you're explaining, Astrobot. But this is how our politics works. It's tit for tat. You went after my guy, we're going to go after your guy. You went after my guy, we're going to after your guy. Your guy was a piece of shit, so we're going to go after your guy. Your guy was a piece of shit, so we're going to go after my guy. Like, it doesn't really matter. I just hope a few things. I really do believe that Trump is innocent, but I am willing to be proven otherwise. I have not seen evidence of, their characterization of the unredacted files that they have seen, though it's really funny how they're like, he is implicit. He hasn't committed a crime, but he is implicit. But we want also more files. It's like, okay. It seems like mixed messaging there a little bit, though it sounds understandable, a little bit of spin there. But either way, I just want the truth, man. I think it'd be better for Trump to go in front of Congress or for the Oversight Committee. But I understand why he wouldn't. My theory, if any, the only chance right now that Trump would go in front of the committee would be after the midterms. That's what I think. Especially if he wins. But honestly, even losing, I can see that being more so of a thing. But we shall see. We shall see. I'm not a future predictor. I only make guesses.
Just make a couple brief comments, and I'll answer one or two questions, and then
see you later, Alucard.
Right now is on a break, and so we'll reconvene. There'll be some additional hours of questioning by both the Democratic side and the Republican side as the afternoon goes on. I want to just reiterate a couple things that have been made, which are important. The first is that we are thankful that President Clinton came in and answered tough questions from both the minority party and the majority party. We also think it's important to note that he made some of these statements in his opening statement. He made it clear once again that he does not understand, nor do we, why we spent so much time yesterday grilling Secretary Clinton when she obviously had no knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein and had never met Jeffrey Epstein. We also want to reiterate...
But there's emails that suggest otherwise. Literally saying she looks better in person. Why would Epstein know that?
I want to think it's important for us to know our call...
Unless he was lying, granted, but that's still a suggestive statement that you would look into.
Yesterday, because of transparency, it is so important that we continue to release both Secretary Clinton's deposition and President Clinton's deposition. Both of the Clintons are committed to these records getting out as soon as possible.
Then why did they avoid going to Congress when they were called upon? And then subpoenaed. And then they defied that subpoena. And then it was threatened that they'd be in contempt of Congress. And they're like, oh, okay. Yeah, don't give me that bullshit, dude. Don't give me that bullshit.
And oversight Democrats agree. The best way of going forward is for there to be transparency and a full public record, and we're demanding that that record not be edited. but just a full recording of what transpired yesterday, what will continue to transpire today for the course of the day.
See, full recording. Then why isn't it or was live?
And finally, let me just also say once again that we have a new precedent in this country where we can now demand president and former presidents to testify in front of the Oversight Committee. So we are...
Well, yeah, I mean, it's exactly how I said it. It's like, dude. Well, the thing is, Astrobot, they tried to defy the subpoena because it is under, like, Congress's discretion to give a subpoena. There's been, say that someone's contempt of Congress, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of people that do not show up for these subpoenas that do not get contempt, right? But they were subpoenaed. The Clintons thought, nope, we're not going, and you don't have the balls to put us in contempt. And then Congress is like, yeah, we do. And they're like, well, we'll come, but under some conditions. It won't be, filmed live or anything like that. But you can put out the recording the next day. Like, come on. Fishy as fucking shit.
Once again demanding that now President Trump, who was in the Epstein files almost more than anyone else besides Ghislaine Maxwell, answer our questions. This is not a hoax. He has not been exonerated. And we have serious questions for President Trump. With that, we'll answer a couple questions.
Chairman Comer just came out and said that in this last round of questioning, you asked President Clinton if he thought President Trump should come and testify, and Chairman Comer said that President Clinton's response was that it was for you to decide, and Clinton went on to say that President Trump has never said anything to him to make him think he was involved. Now, obviously, we don't have the transcript of that position, but I would love your response to that and what.
Yeah, I think the best response to that is for you to view the complete record of what actually was said. Which, look, we're not going to disclose what was said because it's not in the rules.
We're going to say a lot of things, but not what he said. Cool.
The Republicans keep breaking the rules. But I think to what Mr. Frost said earlier, there was, I think that the President Clinton, did bring up some additional information about some discussions with President Trump. I think that the way Chairman Comer described it, I don't think is a complete accurate description of what actually was said. So let's release the full transcript. And you can get a full record of what actually was said, which brings up some very important new questions about comments that President Trump has actually said in the past. Any other questions?
Congressman.
Yes.
Mr. Ranking Member, I know in the former president's statement he says that there may be times where he says he can't recall. As that, I know you can't really give a lot of details about what was said in the deposition, but how would you characterize it? Do you think he's being cooperative? Is he answering the majority of questions, or a lot of his response is more, I can't recall?
I think everybody would agree that he's been very cooperative, and he's actually answering the questions fairly, to the best of his ability. He has not taken a pass on pleading the fifth for any questions. He's been very thorough. He's been asked some questions multiple times over. I think you'll see that in the transcript. So he's been very cooperative, and in fact, I don't think he's given any sense that he's been uncomfortable to be there. In fact, I think he's been pretty interested in answering, I think, all the questions of both the Republicans and the Democrats. With that, we're going to wrap up. Everyone's going to break.
Have Republicans given any indication they want any questions? Angel, anything you want to say? No, I feel good.
All right, anything else? Anything else? Oh, okay, we got a little bit more. Oh, wait, this is New York Stock Exchange. Like, Jesus Christ, do you people over at Fox know how to cut shit? Anyway, seems like that's really all we're going to hear about till the next day or the day after. I think that's all we're really going to hear. I honestly think that's all we're going to hear until the videos are released. Anyway, moving on. So, this came out yesterday, reported by Drama Alert. There's now a website to track the body count of women. What the fuck? Now, we are going to look into this website. So, here is how it works. Check her body count. It's called checkhercount.com. You drop her Instagram URL. We'll scan her followers, analyze the pics, and estimate her body count. Now, it says here 1,802 women checked. Let's refresh real quick. I guess it's still stuck on that number. Unless it was recently figured out that it's kind of bullshit. So if we scroll down to the comments, and here's the link to it. And if you guys want to take a look at it yourselves, here it is. God, sometimes I hate this chatbot. There we go. Now, just look at the comments because they're very interesting. Lily Phillips, who is a prominent OF creator. Estimate body count, 20. That is not true whatsoever. Let's see a little bit more. Real Donald Trump, 34. I don't know. I don't even know if he has an Instagram. Wouldn't surprise me. But this isn't for men. It's for women. So I think that's what they'd be looking for. But let's just see here. Bonnie Blue, who is on record, and it's recorded, of her with thousands of men. 40. So I think, in my humble opinion, that this little number is either bullshit or it's a placeholder. And it's showing all these other names here. I don't know if they're true or not. I haven't looked into any of these people's Instagrams. But what's really funny, the thing is, like, there was a part of me that'd be like, oh my God. After that T app, like, absolutely failed trying to expose men by, essentially, potentially lying about them. And then all the women's accounts got exposed, their IDs and personal information and everything. I was like, you know what? Would like to see like a better version comeback, like website or app, based on that. And I looked at this and I go, you had one job, guys, and you failed. So there's not really a lot to talk about in the story. I just think it's the hoflation number is a wee bit off there. Astrobot. Yeah, exactly. They were trying to spill the tea energy. Look, if this was made by some guys who's like, you know what, we should do kind of the equivalent of so-and-so and spill tea, kind of get a little bit of revenge on the women that, were trying to take advantage of this. I totally get it. But as far as we can tell, it looks like this AI, if it is with AI, should go through some more iterations or they're not the people to build it. So that's where I'm going to be ending that. Moving on. So there is a little bit of an update in the last few days in regards to the Smash JT lawsuit. Let's actually scroll all the way up. Smash JT, Mercante versus Tarzia, a.k.a. known as Smash JT. Now, if you go online, seeing that the Chuds and Smash JT are getting owned, he's not providing the evidence that they're asking for. None of the documentation that they're asking for. And there is a segment of Smash JT's stream last night that I did want to play. I just didn't have enough time to go and grab it and search for it. Actually, let's see if he already released it. Hold on. I might be able to grab it. No, not Smash. I don't know if this will be on his Smash JT or Smash JT live channel because he usually wants to kind of keep games and one day ago. Journalists. Okay, let's go to Smash JT live. I like that was the very first thing that came to mind. Wait, he hasn't posted on this channel in like a few weeks. Huh. Yeah, he's not posted on this channel a lot. Interesting. Well, I do know that's going to come out soon, and it's on his live stream if you're already a member. I just didn't want to scroll through his video just to find it. But anyway, I'll give you some context after we read it. So, yesterday, February 26, 2026, order denying 56 motion for sanctions. And this is from the magistrate Judge Ashkenazi, I believe her name is. In evaluating whether to impose Rule 37 sanctions, the court must consider a number of factors, including the willingness of non-complimentary. Hold on, I'll scroll in a little bit more. Sorry. Non-complimentary party or the reason for non-compliance, the efficiency, efficacy. There we go. Of lesser sanctions, the duration of the period of non-compliance, and whether the non-compliant party had been warned of the consequences of non-compliance. And then, some cases that are going. Now, the judge says, here, both parties acknowledge that the discovery production was ongoing and only several days late. It was 2 days late. Plaintiff filed, and the thing is, it's a really big deal, was and only several days late. That's a big deal. It's like, there's a very big difference in like the tone of these where they go, well, it was just several days late. It was only several days late, but it's a very big difference when you say here, it was several days late. Like a very big shift in tone there. Indeed, plaintiff filed the motion for sanctions on February 19th, 2026. Just 2 days after February 17th, 2026. Deadline for the production. And they reference where that came from. In light of the brief duration of the delay and the reasons cited by counsel for defendant for the delay, the court concludes sanctions are not warranted. Order on motion for sanctions. And essentially that's what it's referring to. So, and what the response is, and this is responding to Ron Coleman, the amazing Ron Coleman, and hold on, there we go. So I'm not going to read all this. Smash IT will probably come out with this video later today or tomorrow. Essentially, when you read through this, he's essentially explaining to the judge, we were in constant communication with the plaintiff's lawyers and trying our best to figure this out. And we have the emails of all the correspondence, and that they understood what we were doing, that we were complying. And so we don't know why, when we have all this evidence of us complying, of us communicating with the other lawyers in this case, why they would suddenly on February 19th just go, hey, we ask for sanctions. It's like, come on. And it's right here that I kind of want to hit on is also worth placing in this dispute in proper context. Defendant has now produced nearly 10,000 pages of materials. I have a question. Does that sound like non-compliance to you? This represents a massive volume of discovery, one that would be substantial in any litigation. Yet, this is supposedly jurisdictional discovery only. Kind of sounds like that they're asking for more than jurisdictional stuff, and they're still giving them the non-jurisdictional stuff, which I'm a little iffy with. The purpose of which is narrow and limited. Whatever deficiencies remain in the production, the sheer volume of what has been produced reflects genuine effort, not contempt for the process. The characterization of this as willful noncompliance does not withstand scrutiny. And so just to let you guys know, let me go full screen here. So, like I said, I don't have the clip ready today, but you can see Smash JT. He'll probably release it today or tomorrow, or on his own time. But essentially, Smash said yesterday and the day before that there was an email, and he didn't give the specifics of the email in regards to who it's from. He still needs to talk to Ron in regards to how much he could communicate with us, the audience, and to his viewers. But essentially, one of the big tech companies emailed both lawyers, so Alyssa's lawyers and Ron Coleman, that what they were asking for, they didn't even have. When over and over and over and over again, Mercante's lawyers have been asking for shit that Smash could not possibly have access to. And they even kept, like, I remember, there was this document, I wish I had it pulled up, but there was this one document where I believe it was the, what was it? Hold on, I can pull it up. It was the transcript where they said, oh, well, how about this? How about plaintiff goes on, does a video call or a Zoom call with the defendant so that, they can show him where it is, where to find that stuff. Now, I don't know all of the things here. I don't know if that was in conjunction to whichever big tech thing was at the time. I'm trying to remember from the top of my head. But essentially, they're trying to go, yeah, we know you can get this stuff. We'll even mock you a little bit and say, hey, we know that our own plaintiff can show the defendant of where they get it. I don't know if this is the same tech company, by the way. But to me, this just makes them look bad, if that is the case. All right? It just makes them look bad. So now that... So along with this letter... 20. So along with this letter and sanctions being denied, it ain't looking good for Alyssa Mercante and her lawyers. Now, one can only suspect how the judge feels about this. But if there was, and I have every reason to believe that there is, mutual communication and what was going on and a good faith effort to get the information that they were asking for in regards to the jurisdiction issue, discovery of jurisdiction, I would be, as a judge, a little bit pissed if you essentially sent the defendant on a wild goose chase for information that they couldn't possibly have. I'd be a little mad. And then not only that, having emails of compliance, and then 2 days later, filing for sanctions. I would be pretty upset. Now, I am not the judge. I am not the magistrate judge, Ashkenazi. I believe that's her name. I do apologize if I am saying it wrong. I don't quite remember her name. I believe it's here somewhere. Yeah, Ashkenazi. Judge Laura Ashkenazi. So, that is what's up. And now, as you may guys know, I have a leg in this fight because I'm in 12 frickin' pages of this goddamn lawsuit. I have my own goddamn set. Man, I sound like Viper AU. 14 pages! But yeah, I am in, I think, 12 pages of this exact document here. I forget where I'm at, but I know this is the right document. Where they say some facts about me, but there's also things that they made up by saying things like, on information and belief, nobody was doing this. I'm like, are you where did you come up with that? Like, they accuse me of being paid by Smash JT. Or for financial gain. It's like, what? What? Are you crazy? How can you insinuate something like that? Yeah. I'm in 12 pages of it. They accused that my, what'd they say? That my Reddit account was a sock puppet account because it was called Krusty the Sock YT. And no, they got that wrong completely. It's because you can't change your handle name. I think you can change the title and or the like your actual like username, but not like the handle, if you know what I mean. I had that way before I knew Smash JT. And that's what my YouTube channel used to be called. It used to be called at Krusty the Sock YT. It was this YouTube channel, and then after I got out of homelessness, I rebranded it. Or no, I rebranded it while I was homeless. Because I didn't want to one, I wanted my privacy. Two, I didn't want to be recognized on the internet. You know, I didn't want friends and family to know that I was homeless at the time. So I just wanted privacy. So, and I made videos way before I had any association with Smash JT. Before I even became a mod. I even have emails saying that my YouTube channel name used to be Krusty the Sock. Imagine all the insane coordinated efforts of her social and DMs getting out. Yeah, like a lot of people ask, like, Smash, why aren't you countersuing, man? Then wouldn't you be able to get discovery? But the thing is, when you countersue, you could potentially, one, open yourself up to a lot of different things. Because, like, this, so, let's see, what was this? So, like, for example, the Johnny Depp lawsuit. When what's her name? Amber Heard. When she countersued Johnny Depp, and she put her mental status as one of the reasons of how he abused her, she opened herself up to be evaluated. That's why you had two different psychologists, one on Johnny's side and one on Amber Heard's side, that evaluated her. Notice that no one evaluated Johnny Depp. But the thing is, when you countersue someone, you have to be very specific with the language. And yeah, probably countersuing Alyssa Mercante, maybe they can get a lot of the things that, you know, I'm very curious about. But at this point, at least I do not speak for Smash JT, but this is what I can only observe. If, you know, when you're countersuing, you open up a lot of different worms. You might get what you want, but at what cost? And as far as I can tell from what Smash JT has said, is that he just wants it done. She no longer works in the game industry as a journalist. Hell, I don't even think she's live streaming on Twitch anymore. As far as I can tell. Because usually, like, I'll get DMs every once in a while from random people being like, look who's live! And I'm like, I don't care. Like, every once in a while, they'd be like, look what she said! And I'd be sent a clip. I'm like, okay. Cool. Yeah, only every once in a while has she, like, grinding my gears enough where I address something, like either on X or in a YouTube video. But no, I mean, I don't even remember the last time I did a segment like this talking about her, right? Oh yeah, pour a pint for both of us there with some random white guy. So in that regard, like, everyone just wants this to be over because it's a dumb lawsuit. Suing someone because you don't like them is not a reason to sue someone. This has been a year and a half of stress for Smash JT and stress for myself, a few other creators. Obviously, majority of it has been on Smash. You know, I mean, it's the finances that he has to take care of. I mean, thankfully, the community has came together and just was like, nah, fuck that bitch. She's full of shit, right? But no, like, an unnecessary amount of burden has been put on Smash JT's shoulders and his family, and it's fucking sickening. Just because she didn't like what he said. Even if it was true. That's what this seems to come down to. I mean, thankfully they're looking into just jurisdiction right now to see if he has any business here in New York. They tried to get Rev Says Desu is in this lawsuit. He has over 700,000 subscribers. And they think that he lives in New York based on a doxing that, to my knowledge, hasn't been confirmed from over a year ago. So I don't think these people know. These people have been claiming that Hypno lives in New York, even though they've done basically no legwork to even prove that. They tried to say, oh, we saw a stamp from the I think this was the stamp from Long Island. And because one of the packages that Hypno opened had that stamp, therefore he must live in New York. I'm like, do you guys not know how Amazon works? That just means it was either the closest state or it was the only one that provided that product. Like, what are you talking about? That is not evidence of shit. So these people, in my personal opinion, have been just pulling shit out of their ass, trying to find evidence that just simply isn't there. And that's what I'll say about that. Oh, you're from Montana? Makes sense why you're called Moo Steaks. Or your parents called you a Moo Steak. Sorry. It was right there. All right. Moving on. Pirate Nation. I know, weirdly enough, I'm talking about games. I know, right? Who would have thought? Sony is reportedly pulling away from PC for its single-player PlayStation games to focus more on console exclusivity. Now, here's my experience in regards to video games. Love me some Nintendo. You know, love me my GameCube. I had the Wii. I had the first Nintendo Switch. I eventually had to sell that to pay rent a few years ago. But yeah, I haven't really played a lot of Nintendo unless I was at a friend's house. But I keep up with, the meta of what's going on and everything. And in regard to PlayStation, that has been my console of choice in the way I play games until this last year, since I became a creator, since I started streaming, since I started, doing this, content creator thing. And now I understand PC Master Race and how stupid, and once you're kind of out of that bubble, you kind of realize how stupid the console wars kind of are. Because eventually it comes to PC. Now don't call me a Sony fanboy or a PlayStation fanboy, okay? Just my history suggests, because I am more of a single player dude, I like my single player games. And I like more so of the IPs that PlayStation puts out than Xbox or Nintendo historically. That was just player preference for me. And I love me. It's a majority of their single player games. But now that I have converted to PC, my PlayStation is more so of a paperweight. So it is a little disheartening to hear Sony pulling away from PC. From IGN, Console is where they want to be. Reports indicate Sony is pulling away from PC for single-player PlayStation games. Under the current PC leadership, PC has become less important. Now, from IGN, this is from Wesley Yinpool. And I know this from IGN, but this is the first article that I came across in the limited amount of time I had. Sony is reportedly pulling away from PC when it comes to single-player PlayStation games to focus more on console exclusivity. Various comments from credible sources, including Bloomberg reporter Jason Schreier, right, and Digital Foundry's John Linman, I trust him a little more, indicate PC has become less important for Sony, and that single-player PlayStation exclusive may remain just that, which is the dumbest shit I have ever heard. And this seems to be speculation. Because here's why I think that. Right now, at least as far as this article goes, it seems to be speculation. Because why would they do it that way? Let me give you a pitch here, guys. I got Bloodborne 2, right? I got Bloodborne 2, and it is ready to go. All right. Marketing person's like, all right, how are the releases going to go? We going to go PC and PlayStation at the same time? Or, what's the game plan here? And they go, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put on PlayStation only. And then your marketing guy is going and looks at him and goes, all right. And then, after that, player base has definitely, gone through it. They played 1,000 times, all the speed runs. It's in the market. It's in the conversation for a few months. I mean, it's Bloodborne 2. Everyone's been waiting for Bloodborne 2. That would be amazing. We're going to put on PC like a year later, right? And then Sony goes, no, why would we do that? And then the marketing guy goes, because there are people that will play it on PlayStation, and then if you release it on Steam, many of those players will buy it again for PC, especially if you add a few things to it. We would be making exponential amount of money. And then Sony goes, yeah, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. And the marketing person looks at it and goes, are you insane? So to me, this does not make sense whatsoever. I haven't read through this entire article yet, but we shall see. Because this is just, like I said, this is just speculation. They say indicate PC has become less important for Sony, and that single-player PlayStation exclusive may remain just that. Speaking on the Triple Click podcast, Schreier indicated that Sony will continue to release its live service games on PC. I mean, that does make sense to, in real time do that, as well as PlayStation. But the sense I'm getting is that they're backing away from putting their exclusive console stuff, like traditional single-player stuff, on PC. Again, that doesn't make sense. It makes more sense to go, hey, put on PlayStation, then 6 months to a year later, release it on PC. What do you guys remember Stellar Blade having its sudden resurgence out of nowhere? It exploded again. People rebought it on Steam. And there were new players. It got massive coverage all over the globe. And even after that, Sony goes, you know what? No, we're just going to keep it on one thing. No, that is dumb. That is dumb. That is dumb and irresponsible. Who the fuck are these executives? I get it. You want to compartmentalize your brand as much as possible, similar to Sony does. Similar to what Nintendo does. But I'm sorry, PlayStation. Once you opened Pandora's box, you can't close it again. That means you set an expectation for your player base. As much as we would love Nintendo, to start releasing stuff on PC, they're not gonna fucking do it. Because they're afraid of the thing that you're now afraid of. Player choice. If Nintendo was smart, they would do exactly what PlayStation has been doing. Put it exclusive for 6 months to a year, release it on PC. Cash just flows into the pockets of Nintendo, Sony, and Xbox. Actually, we're not going to talk about Xbox. They're doing their own stupid thing that people more qualified than myself are willing to comment on. Schreier then suggested Sony hasn't seen significant commercial success putting its players, its single-player-based games on PC. Really? Really now? Why haven't you made commercial success? Because PC players, arguably, are more informed on the product than PlayStation players. I'm not saying that PlayStation players are dumb. I'm saying that more so of a general audience is in PlayStation in comparison to PC players. That's what I'm saying. And see, it continues. It doesn't, like, that, I cannot believe. And the reason, okay, let me actually continue. And the reason, well, I forgot that I should probably show the article. Well, here we are. And yes, Nintendo is the Apple of gaming, but that's besides the point. Where was I at? Commercial success. It's because your single player shit has sucked. And I like how they say this. That have made the jump to PC include Marvel Spider-Man. That was a success. That has extra money. Even if you got half of what you made from Spider-Man, that's still a success on PC. God of War, same thing. Last of Us, maybe not The Last of Us 2. Ghost of Tsushima still did well on PC, not as well on what? Because they haven't released it yet. I bet you anything, if Ghost of Yotei comes to PC, you're not going to see those same results. Because here's the thing that PlayStation and Nintendo definitely don't want. If you put it on Steam, the public gets to see who's playing it and how many people are playing and what the peak was. And they have gone on with the whole thing. They go through the rankings. God, what's that company called that does this like rankings on how good sales are doing? When they release shit on Steam, they lose all their PR power. They lose the narrative. Like, oh yeah, number 7 best sold PlayStation game. Circana. There we go. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? In comparison to what? You can say that something was number 9, the 9th best sold PlayStation game, and compare it to the 10th. Well, what's the numbers in between that? When you put something on Steam, it's all bare naked laid out. That's what they don't want. Because then they don't have the ability to lie to their shareholders. Because people like Smash AT, Hypnotic, Words of Paradise, they will pick that shit up and they will go, sounds like you're lying. And then those investors are going to be asking some very, very pertinent questions there. Anyway, let's continue. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that big of a blow, he added. First player single party PlayStation games that have made jump to PC include, oh yeah, we went over that. In a post on Reset Era, Schreier and his comments were not speculation, but sometimes topics come up on the show before I'm quite ready to publish a story about them. More to come soon, I'm sure. So it's like, oh no, I'm just putting it out there. Wait, hold on. What did he say? It's not speculation, but sometimes topics come up on our show before I'm quite ready to publish a story. Okay, he's saying that he basically has insider information on this, which I do not doubt. I mean, as much as many like myself have issues on Jason Schreier's reporting, especially when he keeps calling out the chuds and then the chuds ended up being right and then he deletes tweets from what he said before. But something that we're not going to argue with is that he does have insiders, access to insiders in regards to stuff like this. So I'm not quite sure in regards to speculation. Because this would be really dumb for him to do. Sorry, not him, not Jason Schreier. Sony to do. Because why wouldn't you release something for extra profit, even if it's half of what you made on PlayStation? New audience, and you have an audience that's coming back. Just for upgraded graphics. I mean, a lot of times those ports don't end up well and need some fine-tuning with some patches. But overall, it is a good thing for the companies to put those on PC at the end of the day. And that's just for me. Digital Foundry's John Lineman said something similar on Digital Foundry Direct. I actually have an inkling that they're pulling away from PC. Watch this space. I get the feeling that under the current leadership, PC has become less important. Why? That's what I want to know. Why? One might argue the Jim Ryan era. The one positive thing to come out of it is the shift to PC. But I'm not confident they have a huge vision for PC going forward. Not to say we won't still see some PC games happening. Like, okay, this still sounds like speculation. Are you taking a hard line with it? Is it pick and choose? Like, Jesus Christ. Do you guys know something or not? But I think it's not going to become more PC focused. That's fine. So wait, what is this fucking story? I think if anything, it's going to become less. This is the reason why I don't think they would ever consider a PC launcher, like going bigger on PC at the expense of console. I think console is where they want to be. IGN asked Sony for comment. Sony has in recent years explained PlayStation PC, but refrained from going on as far as console rival Microsoft, which releases all its games on PC at the same time as console. Sony, however, has employed a staggered approach, releasing single-player PlayStation games on PC after a period of console exclusivity, which makes sense. Now, would it be smart for Sony to have a competing platform on PC? You know, that synergy that everyone likes? It probably would be smart of them to do, especially when they're a first-party publisher and a third-party publisher. But I don't think they want to 100% compete in that arena. And some random white guy does make a really good point here. Sony's trying to take advantage of the chip shortages for of the next couple years. Well, I guess that's the question. Do they want to spend more money on more console stuff? Or do they want to start moving to PC? Because traditionally, consoles are sold at a loss for the games to be sold in the long run. I don't know. This sounds like speculation to me. It is worth noting that Sony may have to delay the release of PlayStation 6 to 2028 or even 2029 as a result of the AI-fueled chip crisis. Yep. I think you called it, man. In January, an analyst reports that Sony may push the launch of the PS6 beyond 2028 and lengthen the PS5 life cycle. Yeah, and that's something I really wasn't considering. This could be taking advantage, or it's just a result of what's going on with chips. There's a lot of questions that are going to be revolved around that. And from what I think of what Sony should do, if they were to build their own platform on PC, like having a PlayStation launcher on PC, they would have had to start that 2 years ago. Just to start getting that ball rolling. Yeah. Because then by the time the PS6 would hit, then you can come out and say, we have a launcher ready for PC and that's going to go alongside of the PlayStation 6. That's what I think. Anyway, that's the story there. Tell me what you think. Comment down below and all that jazz. Now we're going to get into... You guys know that Amazon is creating a God of War series, right? You guys like how do you think everyone likes how Amazon treated Lord of the Rings recently? And Rings of Power? Well, we got our first shot at God of War. This was intentional. Oh, yeah, look. God of War on Prime. Verified. This is our Kratos. Look, I don't have any issues with the boy. We will see the memes here in a second. But one, the beard. What the fuck? And why does he look confused? And I am not certain on the casting anymore. Because we're going to do this real quick. Oh, hold on. Look at that beard. Look at that beard. Perfect. This is a cosplayer. And then we have this. Strangly beard. Like, dude. Form it, for one. But now let's scroll down. Yorch Torch. Come on. Well, shit, this isn't good. I think... Did I hear that he's a guy playing... I forget who the actors are playing it, but I did hear is our friend Kata. I'm sorry, it looks like Dollar Tree Kratos. Maybe it looks better in post. I don't know. In my playing of the new God of War games, I have never seen him make this look. And I've never seen a stringy beard. Like that thing when you go out of your mouth. Let's continue going. Yep, low saber. Is this a season April Fool's joke? Let's see here. And yes, you see the memes. I don't know who he is, but yes, they got that one little guy who's incredibly old. Let's see here. And we're going to do a comparison right here. Fan-made first look versus reality. Yeah, I know. He looked like... I don't know if I've ever seen... Like, his legs are out. Like, his legs are spread. He's, like, doing this. And I have never seen Kratos make that look ever before in my lifetime, ever. Bullcrap, Triple H was perfect person to play Kratos. He's not going to do it. Oh, we got a Kratos crying. the Nathan Fillion, but in Kratos form. I love that. I love it. Our expectations for you were low, but holy fuck. Oh, can you see the line? Yep, you can. It's right there. Yep, you can see that ball cap. I mean, you really have to look. You really have to look, but it's there. Way to build excitement. God, this is just going to be Halo all over again, isn't it? It's going to be Halo all over again. Mark my words. Do I want to be surprised? And that is just a terrible first look photo. And yes, things do happen in post that can be adjusted, or in the editing, or maybe some reshoots. But experience has told us otherwise. That no matter how much post you try to do, if it's shit on camera, then it's just shit on camera. And I will leave that there. Did I want to do this first? Yeah, sure, why not? Dystopian. Due to age verification laws, open source calculator firmware is being restricted in some states. Poor knows residents of California and Colorado. As of consequence of recent legislative activity in California and Colorado, California residents may no longer use their calculator thing after January 1st, 2027, and Colorado residents may, they keep saying may, no longer use after January 1st, 2028. DB48X is probably an operating system under these laws. However, it does not, cannot, and will not implement age verification. See, this is one of the reasons why dumb fucks who don't understand the internet should be elected to office. Dumb fucks need to stop being elected to office if they cannot understand internet at all. No, it's not going well. When a calculator company, an open source calculator firmware is being restricted, what else will? This is so incredibly dumb. There are other ways to do it. What child is going to be using a calculator, like an open source calculator? That'd be for like adults, or at least, or at most, junior and seniors in high school. Why do we need to worry about age verification of a goddamn open source calculator? When they write these laws or make these proposals, these people do not understand what they are implicating. They're implicating, one, your biological privacy, your actual privacy. I mean, hey, I got doxxed because of a fucking wire, okay? Okay? So, so what are we going to do? At least that was my fuck up. But over and over again, and we've seen this over and over and over again, Discord, how many times have they been hacked in the last 6 months? No, you need age verification. Okay. You want to put my 7-year-old son biometric data into Roblox? Into Discord? Into Facebook? Into Windows? Linux? Why? Can't I just be a parent and, protect both my privacy and my child's and the rest of my family's and my friends? No. The government is not even looking a little bit that far. And let me just show you something, guys. Let me show you. My Colorado, state of Colorado's mobile app. Colorado Digital ID. The contactless Colorado Digital 1 is a secure secure electronic version of your driver license or state-issued identification card that can be used for proof of identification, age and address within the state. If you work at a Colorado business, state agency, nonprofit, or law enforcement agency, you may accept, for now, digital ID as a legal form of identification. See, guys? See? This is just an option. You don't need digital ID. You don't need it, but it does make things a little convenient. All you have to do is upload your stuff to our website so it can be used anywhere, man. No, and don't worry. Nothing's going to be hacked. Famous last words. Things to know. Continue to carry your physical driver license or state-issued ID for interactions with law enforcement, government agencies, and businesses that aren't yet accepting digital ID, as well as the use at airport TSA checkpoints. No. Do you not understand? Because you think it's safe. You think it's... Oh, I haven't looked at the poll. Yeah, we're still going to be getting there, too. I haven't looked at the poll. Doesn't Girl Scouts exist anyway? 73% of you said, yeah, that. Colorado's digital ID is currently only authorized for in-state use and is available for Apple and Android devices. Now, here's what's rich. Protecting Coloradans' privacy. Your privacy matters. That's why My Colorado users can hide information within the Colorado digital ID. Hi, Sonia. That is not relevant for a particular transaction. Not relevant? Sure. For example, if age verification is required to purchase alcohol, Coloradans can choose to hide their address or even their birth date for privacy measure. What if someone steals your phone? What if someone kills you, uses your face for identification to open it up, get your ID that way? They can be out of the country before you're even dead. But I mean, before people would know about it. I mean, I know that's an extreme example, but what the fuck? There are so many holes in this there's so many holes because the people that are introducing this don't understand how the internet works. The internet is a safe and dangerous place depending on where you go. And I do believe that there are laws that should exist. Like, I'm a big fan of Section 230. Do I think it needs to be adjusted a little bit? Yes, I do, but I like that it's there. An indicator located on the digital ID confirms whether customers are 21 years or older. If there's suspicion that a Colorado digital ID is fraudulent, do not hand over your phone. They say it. Right there, guys. Right there. May I link a video that talks about the ID link that happened recently? Go onto my Rumble, and I'll be able to see it because you're not a mod here. So go over to Rumble real quick, and I'll pick it up from there, okay? Yeah, just put it in the chat. Businesses, state agencies may request that you verify the legitimacy of your digital ID through 4 built-in security features. So now your digital ID is in more than just your cell phone. Sonia, on YouTube, you have to be a mod to do that. On Rumble, you can just choose or you can just decide whether to allow links or not. And I think that my Rumble allows links. For private, anyway, disability. Now, look at this. Disability identifier symbol. You can now display a disability identifier symbol on your digital ID. A disability identifier helps by informing first responders that other state personnel that you may be unable to effectively communicate with them due to cognitive abilities, neurological diversities, mental health disorders, sensory needs, chronic illness, and physical disabilities. Okay,
So as of Discord.
Oh, Deep Humor. I love Deep Humor. It's 5 days ago, but we'll take a look at that in a sec. Okay. I can actually speak to this. Disability identifier symbol. I have worked with people that are nonverbal, that have never used a phone before, because if you give them a phone, they will break it. And I mean in minutes, if not seconds. There always has to be someone with them, with the tablet, to see if there can be additional interactiveness. So, and during an emergency, you expect these people to just hand over the phone? And isn't this stuff that could be on your driver's license? Or maybe with a tag like someone with diabetes? Hey, thanks for the follow, by the way. Now I know who you are, Daryl. I mean, this is stupid. By the way, it doesn't take you long to figure out if someone is mentally disabled for a neurological or cognitive reason. You'd find out before you got a hold of their phone. These people are dumbasses. These people are dumbasses. Learn more. Things to know. For those who are applying for a disability identifier for the first time, you must visit your local driver license office in person. Find your local state driver license office at dmv.colorado.gov /driver's license office locations. So hold on. So people with intellectual developmental disabilities, cognitive disabilities, neurological diversities, and the thing is, they're saying neurological very broadly. What does that even mean? That can mean a lot of things. Neurological? Are you talking about autism? Or are you talking about autism and mental health disorder? Are you talking about bipolar? Are you telling me that you want people to go to the DMV and hand over their health records to confirm it for a digital ID app and then go, no, it's going to be completely safe? Are you fucking out of your mind, Colorado? Oh, and they have affinity icons. Display an affinity icon on the back of your digital ID. Choose from 16 icons to... Hey, we want to digitize your entire identity and put it at risk. We say that's going to be completely private, but don't handle your phone. Don't hand your phone to anybody because that's security risk. Oh, and if you want disability identifier, all you have to do is just go to the DMV and hand over all of your health stuff from your therapist or medical professional. But no, you're completely safe. But hey, it's all worth it. You get a little affinity icon. Good for fucking you. What happens if I only have my digital ID and I'm stopped by officer from the agency that doesn't accept it yet? And you want to know what their response is? You'll need to show your... Coloradans need to carry their physical ID until digital ID is fully accepted in all jurisdictions and the state passes legislation stating that carrying physical ID is no longer required. This is the plan, people. The fucking sheeple in Colorado are just letting this happen, letting their legislators just willy-nilly just put in digital ID without understanding the consequences. And I'm not saying potential consequences because they're technically all potential, but this is going to happen. The writing is on the wall. The more you go with digital ID, the more risk you are putting out there. because it's physical. Sorry, because it's digital. That means it can be transferred anywhere. There's a reason why people get your ID. Like when you are hired on for a job, they get your ID, they put in the scanner, it's on paper. And I know they can upload your ID in other ways. I know that you can, send an email like to verify and stuff like that. But it's very different when it's integrated into an app, when it's integrated into a service. You are putting yourself at risk when you do this. And they just said it. They just said it explicitly here. Right, where is it? Coloradans need to carry their physical ID until digital ID is fully accepted in all jurisdictions and the state passes legislation stating that carrying physical ID is no longer required. These people do not know the idiocy of their own hubris. And yes, I know that there's stuff. Hi, everyone up there. Hi, Sonia. I love you too. Can an officer take my phone if they suspect the digital ID may be fraudulent? If an officer is unsure that a digital ID is genuine, he or she can ask for your physical ID. They cannot take your phone away. Watch. Now look at this. They go, hey, you have to carry fully a physical ID until it's required. But then they go on and say, well, no, you have to give them your physical ID. They cannot take your phone away. Okay, so when everyone integrates to a digital ID and you tell everyone that right here says where carrying physical ID is no longer required, what are they supposed to do? Because a lot of people are going to go, oh, I don't need a physical ID anymore. Why would I need a physical ID? And then you're pulled over, but then you can't give the officer your phone. You don't have to, right? Well, wouldn't that mean that they will create their own problem and then tell citizens, no, you have to give the officer your phone? That's how we get there, guys. That's exactly how they get there. But they are either it's planned, which I highly doubt it is, at least from the legislation standpoint. I think there's a lot of lobbyists that are really interested in this and keep saying how good it's going to be for, child exploitation and stuff like that in regards to private, and it's going to be the best in privacy, but they can't, it's written right there, exactly what's going to happen. Can law enforcement accept my digital ID if there's no cellular network, Wi-Fi, or internet available? Once a Colorado digital ID has been created within the My Colorado app and the setup process completed, the holder can display it even if there is no cellular or Wi-Fi service available. Law enforcement that leverages e-citation technology can accept Colorado digital ID without a network. However, the data sharing process via a QR code requires internet service. Okay. So what you're essentially telling me is that if a cop pulls me over in Colorado and the only thing I have is digital ID, and let's just say I was speeding, so they can see it, but they can't give a digital citation without the internet, but also the digital ID also can be fraudulent. And even if it is fraudulent, you're not allowed to give the officer your phone unless they got a warrant from a judge, which would just cost more time at that stop. Like, what are we doing? Why are we complicating this? Why are we going through all these hurdles for convenience when it's clearly not convenient whatsoever at the expense of our privacy? If any of you live in fucking Colorado, write your local legislators. Tell them that this is fucking dumb as shit. And I will leave that right there. Man, I saw that story and I'm just like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. This cannot be real. Why? Why would somebody do this? That is so fucking dumb. Anyway, what do you guys think about it? Oh, man. God, I just... It's hard to believe that people are this retarded. I mean, it's not hard to believe, but you have to remind yourself, like, oh, people are retarded. It's backwards as fuck. LOL, cop is just going to pull out their portable fingerprint reader to save time. I have heard that they are coming out with those. I have heard about that. Let's see here. Okay, hold on. We're gonna... Oh, my voice is actually a little sore. So, maybe that's the reason why. Oh, actually, let's check out Asmoncold's reaction to Bill Clinton real quick. Hold on.
Oh, shit. So Bill Clinton put out a statement about Jeffrey Epstein and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. President Clinton's opening statement to the House Oversight Commitment. I'm here for two reasons. First reason is I love my country. Second reason I'm here is the girls and women whose lives Jeffrey Epstein has destroyed. They've been waiting too long for parole. Through my brief acquaintance with Epstein ended years before his crimes came to light.
You were friends with him after his crimes came to light back in what was it, 2006, 2007? What are you talking about?
I don't know about that, though I never witnessed during our limited interactions of any interaction of what was truly going on. I am here to offer what little I know, like 3 minimizing qualifications. Oh yeah, I'm here to offer what little I know, so it might be able to prevent something like this from happening ever again. But before we start, I have to get personal. You made Hillary come in. She had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, then why was Jeffrey Epstein's main accomplice at her daughter's wedding? Especially whenever you've been married to her for 30 and 40 years and you both do politics together. Do you really think they never talked about Jeffrey Epstein? What the fuck are we doing here? Exactly. This is the most delusional playing people for retards thing that I've ever even seen. She has no memory of even meeting him. She neither traveled with him nor with any of his properties. Over the 20 years, she's like, oh, you're hanging out with Jeffrey again. Like, do you really think she didn't know who this guy was? Are we fucking kidding? Hey,
it's
Hillary
exactly
Clinton is much prettier in person. Jesus, bro, really? Like, simping in the Epstein files? Whether you subpoenaed 10 people or 10,000, including her, simply was not right. Let me see what you're gonna get from me. First, I had no idea of the crimes Epstein was committing. No matter how many photos you show of me, I have 2 things that at the end of the day matter more than your interpretation of those 20-year-old photos. Okay. I know what I saw, more importantly, what I didn't see. I know what I did, more importantly, what I didn't do. I saw nothing and I did nothing wrong. Honestly, that's what I would say. If I was Bill Clinton, I would say that too. Everybody is lying about me. I'm the victim here. Absolutely. That's what I would.
This is all about avoiding consequences. Just like I said before, it is all about avoiding consequences. I'm not surprised that he's fucking lying, guys. That's his job. Oh, there's consequences over here, and I used to be the former president. I'm the former president of the United States, and this happened under my watch. Jeffrey Epstein was here 17 times here at the White House, and I went on his plane 27 times. There are multiple photos, and even still hung out with him after 2006, 2007, when he was implicated by the FBI and got that weird sweetheart deal out of nowhere. Kinda weird, but no. I didn't see anything, guys. I absolutely didn't see anything.
Would say, because some retards will buy it. As someone who grew up in a home of domestic abuse, not only had a phone on his plane with any inkling of what was going on, even with 2020 hindsight, nothing I ever saw gave me pause. We were only here because he hid it from everyone so well for so long, and by the time it came to light with the 2008 guilty plea, I had long stopped associating with him. You hear me say often that I don't recall. That might be unsatisfying, but I'm not going to say something I'm not sure of, since I'm under—
Oh, isn't that smart? Buttering up. I'm gonna say I don't recall many times, guys, but that just means I don't recall, and it's been a long time. Look how old I am. Of course I'm gonna forget things.
Growth. I will not falsely state that I'm looking forward to your questions, but I'm ready to answer them to my best of my abilities. Okay, well, there we go. So that's what Bill Clinton said whenever they brought him in. And this is also another thing, is like Bill Clinton, literally, he had this girl suck his in the White House while he was smoking a cigar.
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
And it was something else. You made it up. Just now, Representative James Comer confirms Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House 17 times.
We know President Clinton had, and Secretary Clinton confirmed this yesterday, Jeffrey Epstein was in the White House 17 times while Bill Clinton was president. We know that Bill Clinton flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane at least 27 times.
In lines of questioning that Jeffrey Epstein was running a intelligence gathering operation. In my professional opinion, I do believe it was a honeypot operation.
Whoa, hold on, whoa. Who is he running it for? I'm just curious.
Ms. Mace, what do you mean that Hillary Clinton was screaming?
She was unhinged. She didn't want to answer any questions.
I bet she didn't.
It's all very bizarre. She responded screaming.
I'm just the dumb wife. I didn't know Jeffrey. I didn't know Ghislaine Maxwell. Why was Jeffrey talking about me as if he's met me before? No idea. Never happened. I've just been married to Bill Clinton, the former president of the United States, for decades upon decades. I've only been in office for decades upon decades. I was a sitting senator for over a decade. I was the Secretary of State for Barack Hussein Obama, another former Democratic president. We know nothing. Bullshit.
And I will.
If you get to watch her crashing out in the deposition and they release that in full, oh my God. Can't wait. Yeah.
We can get it uploaded in
the
sound
let's
and everything
see this
from yesterday. So
I'm ready.
Nicer depend.
Okay. I actually want to, I lost the one I was actually going to do, but yeah, I do not. Pete Hegseth. Where is it? Yep, here we go. All right. So I saw this on X, and I accidentally closed it out. I have no idea how Maxwell was at my kid's wedding. Right. No idea. She was a guest, guys. She was a guest. No idea how she got there. It's not like, we have the Secret Service that protects former presidents 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and goes through every single contact at every single event that they are ever on for security purposes. No idea why she was there. Come on. Bullshit. Anyway, we're going to end this with some good news today by Pete Hegseth. And I love when he puts out videos because he is just concise and determined and is like, yeah, this was clearly dumb. Let's fix it. So DEI is indeed dead. The Boy Scouts of America are back.
Amplify this. Quote, for more than a century, Boy Scouts of America prepared over 130 million American boys to make moral and ethical choices, not just during their formative years, but for a lifetime as they grew into men. The first few words of the Scout Oath exemplify this. Quote, on my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country. The Boy Scouts are embedded in our communities. They're sponsored by community organizations, service clubs, and churches. Many Boy Scouts have gone on to senior leadership positions in their communities, in business, in our nation's military, and as elected representatives in local, state, and national office.
Yeah. Once they're like, well, it's not fair girls are not allowed in the boys. You have the fucking Girl Scouts. Are you just saying that, the Boy Scouts are better, or you just hate that, it's exclusive to boys? Like, which one is it? Or are we going to go through the whole transgender thing all over again? Because that's even additional stupidity all over again. Muddying the waters, changing the names, trying to change what men and women are, just even biologically. And apparently, women are allowed their safe spaces. Transgender people allowed their safe spaces, no matter what trans they are. But men, straight men, not allowed to have their own space. And the thing is, what men's spaces are like the Boy Scouts for America, it's a safe place to do unsafe things. And here's what I mean. Learning how to build a fire, learning how to fix things, learning about the wilderness, cutting up meat, using knives, using Swiss Army knives, using specific tools that can hit an individual, and it's men helping boys grow into men. You really want to help, like, we have all these single moms that are raising boys in America, and they're coming out like shit. The sports and the Boy Scouts of America, great function to help young boys understand themselves as they go into their formidable years.
6 Boy Scouts have been elected President of the United States. 11 of the 12 men to walk on the moon, Boy Scouts. Boy Scout training focused on responsible citizenship, character and leadership development, patriotism, personal fitness, self-reliance, faith, and a wide range of outdoor skills. It was a great program, and this department had a close relationship with the Scouts almost since its inception, as many troops meet on military bases. After 2020,
I will say it is a great pipeline for military service. Wait, you know how to survive on your own, build a fire, tie knots, probably in their later years, learn how to use firearms. You know, maybe if your dad or your parents didn't teach you, I bet you the Boy Scouts of America in their older years that there's probably opportunities for that. I mean, it is a pipeline to military and police service, which is actually a good thing. And if they don't go into police service, they're usually into leadership positions. It gives boys a lot of confidence.
12, however, the Boy Scouts lost their way, and a once great organization became gravely wounded. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, crept in. The name was changed to Scouting America. Girls were accepted. The focus on God as the ruler of the universe was watered down to include openness to humanism and earth-centered pagan religions.
And by the way, Astrobot, the only thing the Girl Scouts have going for them are those caramel coconut ring cookies. Those, you want to know what the Girl Scouts does? I don't know. I'm sure they have camping trips. I'm sure they do different things. But the thing is, guess what? I'm a dude. I don't care. Unless I have a daughter sometime in the future, I don't see myself having kids as much as I want one because I shit with women. With that in mind, like, if she's interested, then I'll look into it. I'll see all the things that they do. But one thing that isn't deniable, they treat girls how to get out there and do sales. That's great. Good for them. They go out there, they get out into the public, they're in front of a Safeway, they're interacting with human beings, being like, hey, would you like some cookies? Here are our options. It's a great way to introduce sales. It's amazing. What do they do with that money? I don't know, but that's my piece on that.
Scouting became an organization that no longer supported and celebrated boys. They even welcomed the destructive myth of gender fluidity and transgenderism to infiltrate their membership.
This is an appointee of the White House saying, this is an official from the White House saying this. We used to not have to say shit like this to point out the obvious, but this is where we are. Pete Hegseth should not having to be making this statement because it was obvious boys and girls were different. But here we are, literally having to say, hey, can the Boy Scouts be the Boy Scouts again? For boys, that would be great.
Along the way, standards were lowered and merit destroyed in favor of an insidious, radical, woke ideology that is anti-America and anti-American. The result, membership cratered. Americans didn't want this. In 1970, 10 million boys participated in Boy Scouts. Currently, less than 1 million boys and girls participate. Further, many of these community organizations that once supported Scout troops, they withdrew their support. And Scouting America, the parent organization, filed for bankruptcy protection. The changes Scouting America made since 2012 have also jeopardized the relationship with this department. And I was very seriously considering ending our support of Scouting altogether. We have a department to protect, after all.
That is true.
Beyond that,
it's like, hey, can you guys actually produce boys that would go into the military? Or at least have some impact to the community that's beneficial? Because we're looking at your numbers and you still want this association with us. We can't support something that's not really supporting the United States, the community, or even your state. Now it just looks like a daycare for both boys and girls. Like, what are we doing? Why should we have this association with you when you're not producing any, good, fine young men? If you're not putting out good, fine young... pause. If you're not developing good, hardworking leaders of men out of this organization, then why should we support you, right?
Policies Scouting America have in place violate President Trump's Executive Order 14173, entitled Ending Illegal Discrimination and Restoring Merit-Based Opportunity. But before making this big change, I decided to meet with the current Scouting leadership to convey our deep concerns. Based on that face-to-face conversation and subsequent conversations, Scouting America agreed to make several key reforms. And let me briefly highlight a few of them. First, Scouting America has agreed to comply immediately with the provisions of Executive Order 14173. This includes reviewing and replacing politicized, divisive, and discriminatory language throughout the organization, programs, and all publications. No more DEI 0. Second, the, quote, Citizen in Society Merit Badge that encouraged Scouts to explore diversity, equity, inclusion, and identity. They always mask it under a name that sounds great, but it's doing something else. And then asks those Scouts to engage in activism on those topics. That badge has been discontinued.
Oh.
Third, Scouting America will modify its policy to make clear that membership will be based solely on biological sex at birth and not gender identity.
Yes!
That means that the application, any application, will have only two sex designations, male and female, and the application must match the applicant's birth certificate.
Oh my God, we had to ask an organization that used to be called Boy Scouts of America to call boys boys. We have to get documentation now to prove that they're bio. What the fuck? That is how bad. When you go so far out into Looney Tune land, or as we like to say, Troons land, and you mess up all the definitions of what a man and woman are, now here we are. We have to get documented identification that someone is actually a boy when you can just look at somebody and understand that they are a boy, because men and women are different, believe it or not.
Scouting will also make clear that biological boys and girls will not be allowed to occupy or share intimate spaces together. Toilets, showers, tents, anywhere like that.
This is actually a great first step, because if they got the Boy Scouts of America to revert back to these policies, because trying to get the public schools to get, with reality is a whole other challenge. So if they're able to get back to like these organizations like the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts of America and being like, boys are boys, girls are girls, that's a great frickin' start to getting these schools to reject this fucking DEI ideology bullshit.
Fourth, Scouting America will honor those who serve by waiving the registration fees for children of active...
I like that. Their left field is in left field. There is another... It's left field inception.
...duty, guard, and reserve families. Should have happened a long time ago. Fifth, in partnership with the War Department, Scouting America will introduce a new military service merit badge. These and other changes that Scouting America's leadership committed to, in that room right over there, will hopefully result in a rededication to the foundational ideals that have defined Scouting for generations. duty to God and country, leadership, character, and service. However, as President Reagan famously said, trust but verify. This agreement is new, and the department's support for Scouting America is contingent on them making substantial progress toward reaching these and many other positive changes in the next 6 months.
Sonia, boys only. Girls not allowed. We don't want your cooties, so don't sue us. The Department of War said so.
Months. At that time, we'll vigorously review progress and decide whether or not to continue our support. The onus is squarely on Scouting America to deliver. If we're unsatisfied with Scouting America's progress toward and commitment to the agreed upon reforms, we will find them in violation of the President's executive order and cease our support. We hope that doesn't happen, but it could.
Damn.
Ideally, I believe the Boy Scouts should go back to being the Boy Scouts, as originally founded, a group that develops boys into men. Maybe someday. There are also additional youth and boys organizations, groups like Trail Life USA and Awana clubs that are already...
I was in Awanas. If you guys don't know what Awanas is, it is boys and girls. Unless we went to camp or something like that the boys would be with the boys camp and then the girls would be at the girls side of the camp. But yeah, it was a great Christian, kind of not necessarily Boy Scout, Girl Scout-ish, but it was more so like, being active after school, learning scripture, and then just kind of attending those meetings. It was really fun. Good. You stay that way. Look, I know you're older, but put the uniform back on. Good girl.
Compliant with President Trump's executive order that the department may eventually support as well. But we're watching, and we're watching closely. We look forward to providing you with updates after our 6-month review and wish the best to Scouting America.
That is awesome. All right. We're going to close out the stream for today, and today we are going to raid New Blackstreet. Smash JT is over there because I have no bias whatsoever. I don't know what you're talking about because you are somebody. I am nobody. Thank you for joining the show, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.